Hello and welcome. This reading is for Leo for January 2023. Welcome to the table, Leo. I have pre-shuffled the cards, but I will shuffle them again for you. We're in the middle of a thunderstorm, so I apologise for the background noise of rain or thunder or hail. I've been waiting some time, but I think the worst of it is over. I hope you've had a good start to January, Leo. Let's see what January holds for you in the way of new energies or changes that you can look out for. Okay, first couple of cards out. I'm an intuitive reader and I use a 10-card spread. I'll take those cards. So I take 5 along the top and 5 along the bottom row. I talk about the cards as they come out, and then I overlay them with the second deck and I talk about those cards as well. Okay, here we go. So I'll talk about these in just a moment. So on the top row we have the Knight of Pentacles, the Ace of Swords in reverse, Justice, 3 of Wands in reverse, and the Magician in reverse. Okay, let's do, oh, there we go again. Okay, Knight of Wands in the bottom row, 4 of Wands, Seven of Swords, Judgment, 4 of Cups. And I'll show you the bottom of the deck. So the bottom of the deck looks like Temperance in reverse. Okay. All right, I'll talk about these cards now. So we've got the Knight of Pentacles. So Leo, this is quite a slow-moving energy, but it's about money or values, things that you are focused on in your world. So it can be your money, your investments, your superannuation, your home, your banking, even your job. So money coming towards you. So that's quite a good card. It's coming slowly. Ace of Swords in reverse. So Ace of Swords is about a breakthrough. This is an intellectual breakthrough. Clear thinking, honesty, integrity. It can be a legal matter. So it could be a breakthrough in a legal matter, but it's in reverse. So when it's a reverse card, there may be some delays, or it may be a call for you to use some clear thinking so that you can find your way through something. It is coming from the cosmos, so it usually indicates some sort of a breakthrough. A little bit of divine assistance in your clear thinking. Okay, you've got Justice. So Justice is all about the truth, a judgment, integrity, honesty. She's always thinking, now Justice is always thinking about the truth. She's weighing up everything. As you can see, she weighs everything up and makes a firm decision. Once she's made a decision, it's set in stone. There are usually no changes once a justice decision has been made. It's a fairly rigid sort of an energy, but it's a good energy. Okay, so we've got the recent past, the present, and the near future. Here comes the rain again. I'll try and talk a little bit louder. You have the 3 of Wands. So the 3 of Wands is about trying to broaden your horizons. Perhaps walking away from your current situation. Maybe it's not very satisfying. Maybe it's not being built upon as quickly as you would like. Perhaps you'd just like a change. It's in reverse. So perhaps it's something you're thinking about. Perhaps you're considering travelling overseas. Maybe you're not quite ready to make that move. I do apologise for the rain. Can't be helped. I have the Magician. He's in reverse as well. So perhaps you're feeling a little bit powerless, and perhaps you feel that you don't have full control of your situation. But the Magician has everything on his table. He has his cups, his wands, his sword, and his pentacles. And usually when the Magician is on the table, it's It can be a little bit of magic because anything is possible, as you can see with the lemniscate, but it's also about manifesting and returning to you the energy that you're putting out into the world. So that's a little bit in reverse. For this, just suddenly I'm feeling that the tables are turned. I don't know why I'm getting the sense of the tables being turned, but that's just what I got. And as I said, I'm an intuitive reader, so sometimes I just get a sudden flash of meaning coming off the card. The Knight of Wands. This is a highly fast-moving energy. So on the top row you've got the Knight of Pentacles, which is slow-moving, and on the bottom row you have very fast-moving energy. Knight of Wands, also highly creative and highly fertile. Flamboyant, as you can see, he's got his feather in his cap. He's got wings usually on his feet, wings on his shoulders, and he flies in. He's a very racing, enthusiastic energy, flamboyant, creative, fertile. And here on the bottom row you've got the Four of Wands. Now the Four of Wands is usually about commitment, a marriage, an engagement, a celebration, that kind of a thing where you are joining two together to create a firm foundation. So you've got the two and the two to create the four. Now four is always about stability and home and finances, security. So when you've got the four there, as you can see, it's more of a celebration card. It's the joining of the two people to create that stable bond. But it's not always that, but that's usually it's generally accepted meaning. Here you've got the Seven of Swords. Now the Seven of Swords is about skullduggery, betrayal, treachery, thievery. Perhaps somebody's very critical, perhaps somebody's taking the credit for your works or your projects. When that card is on the table, any one of those negative traits could be there, but it's rather interesting because you've got Justice on the top row and trickery, thievery, betrayal, and all sorts of things that might come before the court. So it's rather interesting that that's below and Justice is on the top. And usually what I say in my readings is that the top row tends to have the weight and the bottom row tends to support the upper row. So if you are in a court situation about perhaps somebody who's tricked you or cheated you, it does look like justice is going to come to the fore because there's a breakthrough as well. And even though that's in reverse, perhaps there's been some sort of delay. But this is cutting through to the truth. So hopefully if you've been betrayed or cheated or scammed, perhaps justice will come and take action. Lovely. Now this is the Judgment call. Judgment can be an announcement. So you could suddenly get an announcement. That could be in your job or it could be in your private life. It could also be a sudden call, a wake-up call spiritually. It could call you to, perhaps change the way you're living your life. Maybe it's asking you to create a spiritual life for yourself. Perhaps it's just asking you to think again about where you are and where you find yourself. Perhaps it's kind of like the crisis situation you sometimes find yourself in at 40 years of age, where you kind of stop and say, gee, my life is sort of half over and what have I done with it? Where would I like to go from here? So that can be that sort of midlife crisis call because it does have the four sections here. It is a sort of a cross, so you can be at the crossroads. It can be just a sort of basically just a wake-up call. He's got the flaming red hair, so it's kind of that can shake up your head sort of a feeling. And you've got wings, so perhaps you take flight after you've had this Judgment call. Now here is the Four of Cups. Now the Four of Cups is always a little bit despondent, a little bit sad looking, but he actually hasn't looked in those cups. None of them are spilt or turned over, and one is being offered straight from the cosmos directly to him. He's sitting very complacently under that tree, perhaps sulking. Could be sulking. Perhaps he's just not sort of engaged with life. Now, that could be the case that you're not engaged with life. It could also be the case that, if you've had this betrayal, perhaps you don't feel like engaging in life, but you're perhaps missing opportunities that are coming towards you. And maybe you're feeling that the opportunities aren't good enough. That's the other thing that could be the case, is that you feel that your opportunities aren't satisfying you. And even though you haven't looked in this particular cup here, perhaps you're just feeling generally that the opportunities are not good enough, and that you're wishing that a little bit of magic would happen, that you could manifest something better. Now, you do have temperance here. So temperance is the overall balance. Now, this is in reverse. So temperance is usually about healing and balance and, sort of a lovely card from the cosmos, regeneration and renewal. And the Judgment card can be a very similar energy of renewal and calling on you to, to rise up from your situation where you are now and perhaps review it and maybe even start life in a whole different way. It's kind of like when you've received your training in something, you've done your university training or your apprenticeship, and you've worked in that career for a while, and then you get halfway through your life, or you maybe 10 years into it, and you're like 10 years into your career, and you're like, this is not satisfying me. This is making me just feel like I don't want to do that for the rest of my life. But I will clarify these cards now with another deck of cards. These two have been well shuffled. These cards are exceptionally well shuffled because I was waiting for the thunderstorm to pass, and that took quite some time. It took an hour. So these cards have been shuffled for well over an hour. The 3 decks anyway. So, but they are thoroughly shuffled. The flowers today are from my garden. I hope you enjoy them. And the crystals have been cleansed in their salt bath. So everything on the table is clean. The gong, I've used the gong to clean the room and to clean the deck and to clean the table so that there are no negative energies on the table. Okay, let's clarify the Knight of Swords. We have the the Knight of Pentacles is clarified by the 6 of Swords in reverse. So the 6 of Swords in reverse is about usually wanting to leave a situation, perhaps wanting to walk away, and it is actually a walking away card. And when these people get in their boat and start travelling away, they're leaving the situation behind them. They're taking, if they've got a family, they're taking their family with them. They're moving on to better times. It's quite calm water, there's no storm here, but needing to gain the power to paddle your canoe, so to speak. You put down your weapons of fighting and speaking and arguing, and you're gathering a wand, but you need to push that boat along. So that could be maybe you haven't quite gathered the strength to remove yourself from a situation, or you're perhaps only thinking about removing yourself from a situation. Ace of Swords, let's clarify that one. That's clarified by the Ace of Pentacles. Wonderful, you've got 2 aces on the table there, right under one another. So the Ace of Pentacles is a new opportunity. That can be finances coming towards you, but it's quite an auspicious card. So that is good to have on the table. Got 2 aces, that's pretty powerful energy there. Both are in reverse, but that can also mean a slight delay. And the Knight of Pentacles is quite slow. Because you've got the slow incoming energy here, you've got this one in reverse, you've got the 2 aces in reverse. The beginning of January is probably quite slow moving. And any sort of breakthroughs or ideas, maybe you're a little bit slow to get out of your Christmas mode. But that's okay. A slow start. There's always the hare and the tortoise, so don't despair. A slow start is not bad. It gives you time to think and analyse and decide. So we've got Justice here, and as I said, right above this treachery, trickery, betrayal card. Let's have a look what she's got. Oh wow, absolutely beautiful. Queen of Swords. Ooh, look at that look on her face. You don't mess with this woman. She's cold and clinical and hard-hitting. She knows exactly what she needs to do. She can be very sharp-tongued, very critical, very analytical. She will cut through to the truth. But in her negative aspects, she could be overly critical, or overly cutting with her words. But she knows the truth. So right on top of this justice, if there's been some sort of betrayal, or one way or another, Leo, you either know the truth or somebody has made a judgment of the truth on this situation. But it's interesting because I'll have to point this out to you. If you take a good look at this card, you can see, I mean, she's got the very stern, icy complexion and expression on her face, but there are butterflies. Now, the butterflies are all about transformation. So it's once you find the truth, or once you hear the truth, it changes everything. It changes the way you feel. The truth actually, it's an old saying, the truth sets you free because it gives you better choices in your life. Not knowing the truth makes it difficult to make good choices. So here it looks like you've got a choice coming up. You know, do I continue where I am? Do I move forward? Do I continue doing what I'm doing? Or, and as you can see, take a look at his little feet. Little feet are pointing in either direction. There are ships out there, and he's wondering what more is out there. Okay? Now, when I say he or she, the cards are gender neutral. They are not specific to you in the point when I say she for the Queen of Swords or the Knight of Pentacles being a male. It's just the way energy that's portrayed on the cards. So don't take any offence if I say he, she, they. I'm usually talking about the energy coming off the cards. Okay? All right, let's have a look at this Three of Wands. This Three of Wands, particularly after this knowing the truth situation, perhaps you're making a decision how you're going to move forward. Normally the Three of Wands wouldn't necessarily be about a decision, but because you can see he's already put those 2 wands down and he's only got 1 left in his hand. Now, it only requires 1 wand to move forward, to paddle that boat, so to speak. So, you know, he could only use that wand to paddle his boat, and here there's a wand to paddle a boat. You don't need a handful of wands to paddle a boat. So let's have a look at the Three of Wands. It's also a creative and fertile energy, so if you're in doing creative projects, it will then signify that you are beyond the initial stages of your project and moving forward. Oops, there we go. Oh, we've got strength. Came out in the upright position, so you've got strength, gathering your strength, and that's your inner strength. That can be your mental resources. Sometimes it can be a physical strength. Sometimes it's just making that decision and saying, I'm going to go forward from here. But gathering your strength, and as you can see, it has the lemniscate symbol up the top here, the infinity, so it's right next to the Magician. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. That's an 8, so that's quite a stable card. As you can see, it's a number 8 card. So it's it's double stability. It's kind of like 2 pillars at either corner of a square. So it's quite a stable, getting strong in yourself. It's interesting you've got the 2 lemniscates right next to one another. So it's telling me as you go into January, anything is possible. So clearly you're in a situation here, Leo, where you are anticipating or contemplating changing the way you live your life, or perhaps where you live your life, or maybe how you earn your money. Let's have a look at the Magician. Okay, 9 of Wands. Okay, this is a card, 9 of Wands. He tends to be quite sort of tired. As you can see, if he was doing a job, he's manifested all those wands behind him. He's holding one. He's not quite sure whether to plant that in the soil, the same as he's done with the other ones, or whether to take his wand and move forward. And again, it can be a similar energy of this 6 of Swords. You know, it's perhaps, and it also speaks about being a little bit tired and a little bit weary from having done the same thing all the time. But if it's a project you're completing, again, if it's a project, it's sort of like, oh, I've only got one more thing to do. So that's there as well. So again, this is a sort of, and he's standing between two pillars. So whenever I see the two pillars, it's a possibility, that's a consideration for you, whether you wish to continue the way you've been going for obviously quite some time. And clearly you've been successful in what you've been doing, because otherwise you wouldn't have all these wands. But are you tired of what you've been doing, and would you like a change? So that is perhaps a decision there. Let's have a look at the Knight of Wands. The Knight of Wands, as I said, well, this one's turned over, so he wants to come out. Eight of Swords. Eight of Swords is about being trapped in your mind, going round and round in circles, thinking the same things over and over again. Do I really want to go back to this castle? Would I like to go somewhere else? It's this kind of thinking all the time of sort of just going around the same facts without actually making any progress. And I think we're all prone to do that. Sometimes it just requires us to sit down and make a list, because sometimes you just can't find your way through. It can be about worries and anxieties, but it's more about sort of really just not making any progress in your thinking. But you've got this right on top of the Knight of Wands, which is kind of interesting. So, because the Knight of Wands is very fast moving. Anyway, we'll keep moving along. Well, let's have a look at this Four of Wands card. Four of Wands. Do you know, if it was a love reading and I had just these two cards next to one another, you would say that somebody very passionate and loving has moved in towards you, and that there had been a very fast marriage proposal. And then it would be up to you to decide whether you knew enough about this person to commit yourself long term. But that's interesting, because they're side by side, but I'm not necessarily getting a marriage proposal out of this, but it could well be the case. But then with this card right next to it on the other side, that'd be a little bit of a worry. Okay. So if you have encountered a very passionate and loving person, just make sure that their motives are in your best interests, not just their own. Let's have a look at the Four of Wands. Okay, the Devil in reverse. Okay. Now, the Devil is always about enslavement, entrapment, so that can be anything. It can be sex, drugs, alcohol. It can be working too much. It can be a relative, like a family member, sort of holding you trapped. Like if you've got elderly family that you need to look after, that can make you feel trapped as well. It's interesting, again, if this is sort of sexual energy here, which it can be. I'll just hold them up so you can see. If that sexual energy, this one's often referred to as a sexual energy as well. Be careful that you are not tied up in a situation that you don't enjoy or you don't want. Make sure it's both of you or you that is getting enjoyment and satisfaction from the relationship, not just this person. So the Devil can be anything, any kind of being stuck, and you have the choice to release yourself from that situation. So let's have a look. Let's have a look at the Seven of Swords. Okay, Nine of Cups in the upright position. So this can be a wish being granted. All your wishes coming true. So if there's been some sort of betrayal or treachery and trickery and you're getting justice and finding out the truth, perhaps that's leaving you feeling very satisfied. It's interesting, it's right next to the devil. So as long as you're satisfied, that's okay. I mean, you know, as I said, this is fast-moving sexual energy. So as long as you getting what you want from the relationship with this person, if this is a person coming in, then that's fine. But if it's one-sided and this person just rushes away again, it can leave you feeling a little bit bruised or damaged or a little bit used. Let's have a look at judgment. Okay, Eight of Cups. So you're going from the Nine of Cups to the Eight of Cups. This is walking away from your emotional baggage. And, you know, this is a choice. This is an active choice to move on, to leave the things behind. You know, you kind of say, look, I'm fed up with this relationship. I'm fed up with this town. The people here don't seem to gel with me. I'm going to pack my bags. I'm going to move on. I'll move to another town. I'll move to another job where the people are more like-minded, and perhaps a town where you feel that the people are more of your ilk and that you are going to get some satisfaction, because there's a little bit of dissatisfaction walking away. Perhaps you're just feeling a bit dissatisfied. Again, it's right next to the Four of Cups, so you feel it looks a little bit despondent, a little bit down the dumps, walking away. Not so much down in the dumps. I'm not getting a really blue energy, but dissatisfaction. I'm getting definitely distinct dissatisfaction here, and it's on top of the Judgment call. So it's rather interesting. So I guess Judgment is saying, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? Are you going to take action? Do you want a different life? Do you want to have the same old thing? So it's rather interesting that it's on top of Judgment. And then you have the Four of Cups. So dissatisfaction, disappointment. It can be loneliness. Again, he's walking with that one wand, as you can see. I keep referring to that in this reading, but I'm getting very much, it only requires one wand to lean on or to push yourself off. You don't have to have 20 wands. You don't have to have $20 million in the bank to make a change. Okay? So if you are feeling like you're stuck and not getting anything out of life and you want to make a change, weigh it up and have a little look, and can you afford to make that change? Can you afford to move forward somewhere else? Move to a different job, different town? That's up to you. Okay, let's have a look at the Four of Cups. Okay, Prince of Wands. So it's the same energy. Here we go again. Exactly the same energy as this one. Fast, incoming, highly energetic, highly creative. Oh my goodness, there go the lights. I hope we don't lose our electricity. There's still a storm lurking. I can see blue skies, but rain is still falling and the sky is still rumbling. Again, so very fast-moving energy. Again, carrying the one wand. So perhaps you make a decision at the end to change your circumstances, and that can be a fast decision or a fast change. It can just be fast changes. Okay, it's interesting that you've got it at the beginning and then you get trapped. Maybe you had the idea but then perhaps got trapped or got stuck, but towards the end of January you got the same energy that you had at the beginning. But here now, perhaps you've had to gather your strength, or I hope you've gathered your strength. Anything is possible, remember. Let's have a look what's on the bottom of the deck. Okay, Queen of Wands, and there she is. And what has she got in her hand? One wand. One wand. If you want to make changes, Leo, it doesn't take that much effort or energy. It takes commitment. Anything is possible with this card. She's very fertile. She's creative. She's abundant. She's prosperous. She knows how to generate prosperity. It's a beautiful card. Lovely energy coming off that card. And it's It's a florid card, as you can see. It's full of, she's wearing the green, she has flowers in the background. It's that lovely energy of having sufficient and feeling like a queen. So that's a lovely energy. And all of these, a lot of these cards have a singular wand or a singular sword. So knowing the truth, finding the truth, and then taking action. It looks like all you need to do, Leo, is take some action. I'll just have a look if there's any area that you want clarified that might need clarification. This looks, this slow moving energy here with your pentacles, it does look like an opportunity is coming towards you. I'm not quite sure what this betrayal or trickery, you may just feel that somebody's lied or cheated. It could be total betrayal, but in which case also you're asked to evaluate where does that leave you now. Okay, so be careful that you take the time. If you've been subjected to a scam or trickery, betrayal, cheating, any of that sort of stuff, evaluate. Make sure you or try to make sure that you don't fall into any sort of pitfalls again. And again, this can be just a wake-up call at, sort of the midlife crisis, the mid-30s, the mid-40s, the mid-50s, the mid-60s crisis that makes you want to change and move on. And that tends to happen as you hit those numbers. You kind of reflect and go, whoa, I'm in the next age bracket. Off I go. What will I do now? I don't know that anything really needs clarification. I might just out of curiosity, put one more card there. But that does actually look like a really huge breakthrough mentally to get some sort of justice. And I don't know, as I said, I don't know whether this is a legal situation or not. But if it is, it's very strong. It's very strong. And you've got Temperance here, which is healing, but in reverse. So that reverse cards often mean just a delay. And that can also be sort of, she's got the halo, the angel here has the halo around her head. A little bit like, Judgment also. This flaming hair is also like a little bit of a halo. So that's that. And again, here a little bit too. You've got that lovely, that kind of halo energy. That can also be about that knowing that comes to you. So perhaps, if this is not a legal case, perhaps it's just a gradual knowing. You become aware of something, a knowing. That's all I can use is the word knowing. Let's just clarify this. It doesn't really need clarification, but I'll do it just for the fun of it. I've never really noticed it. I will speak to you about it because it's rather interesting. She does have red roses around her, and she does actually look like she's in like a graveyard. There's sort of like monuments there. So that's how cold and clinical she can be. So, perhaps you are in a state in mid-January of being cold and clinical and assessing something, or that assessment is done by an arbitrator. That can also be the case. So let's clarify this card. One more shuffle. Oh, okay. There's your Seven of Swords again, exactly the same as this one. It's in reverse. There you've got your thievery and trickery and betrayal. So I am assuming that you have been subject to something that has tricked you or scammed you or betrayed you or slandered you or something like that. All of the swords tend to be words or even intellect. So anything to do with trickery, betrayal, slander. And it's interesting that's in reverse, and there we go again. So I don't have any doubt that somehow or another you are going to get some sort of a justice, or you are going to understand completely and thoroughly the truth of the matter. And I do think it's going to leave you quite happy, and you should be, which is lovely. So if you need, after that point, this tends to be, as I said, past, present, future. You've got healing here, you've got this lovely abundance here, this beautiful energy. I love this card. She just looks so prosperous. She looks at ease, she looks comfortable, she looks quite wealthy. She looks like she has exactly what she wants. I would like those two cards. Those two cards on the table are quite nice together. It looks to me like you've got to make some decisions about where you want to go. Once you've found this truth, it looks like you're quite happy. And like I said, it only takes one wand if you want to push yourself somewhere else. Okay, I'm going to leave it at that, Leo. I think I've made it quite clear what each of the cards mean, and only you will know what's relevant to you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye for now.